Mr. Canada. Hey.
Wow,
My chairman, my boss.
what's happening now?
It's good. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. It's going. Our family life now.
Not bad, though. Not bad.
How's your wife and kid?
Good. We're managing the cold.
Yeah, you left me in Florida. This
Oh,
man,
where? I know you. Are you still in Florida?
I'm not in Florida, but you left me in Florida now. You left me in Florida before you ran
Irony is,
away.
I was in Florida in December. I was in Orlando, Tampa area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there was winter storm here, so I just had to
Just
run.
run away from the whole thing.
Yep.
All right, I see. So for people that don't know my relation or my connection with this man talking, we played football, soccer for almost, I think, 4 years before we realized that we are family. It's crazy. We actually found out at someone's wedding, right? It was at what's her name? I can't remember, but I know it was at Lagos Island wedding that we found out that we are related. So one way or the other.
That's true. Just
Yeah.
remembering this conversation.
It's crazy. You know, all those days of Saturday soccer. I miss those days, man. Crazy banter, madness, people just fighting, always wanted to fight the ref. The ref always fighting back.
Wait, I'm not sure they still do that competition.
So they stopped, but they're still doing the competition.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they still play. I have no idea. I used to see people snap, but I don't think I saw snap. Maybe they didn't do the competition, but
Yeah, that competition was it, man. It was always it. But yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of my podcast, Conversations with Wayne Salah. I have someone here who I think it would be nice for him to introduce himself because this man, I don't know, he knows everything. Literally knows everything. If I ask him, oh, what are you doing now? He's doing something in tech. He knows everything. He has 2 masters or 3. How many do you have now?
no.
How many do you have now? Because
I have just 2 master's degree now. But
and you were the valedictorian, right, for your masters. This man is so awesome. I think you should just introduce yourself.
all right. So my name is Teslim, but I think preferred name people just call me Tess.
Yes.
Yeah, you can call me Teslim. Anyone. So what do I do? So I am an agile coach slash product owner. Pretty much, I have a lot of interest in IT. It's a fast evolving pace. I started off as a civil engineer, but that was dead on arrival. Pretty much, I never utilized my civil engineering degree. I graduated from the University of Lagos. Pretty much from there, I just wanted to do IT. Got my hands into project management, worked on a couple of failed projects, and then I started working on successful ones, pretty much. And then here I am today in the product field. So I'm pretty much like a product owner, product manager. I think my preference is to be called a product manager. But currently my job title just read agile coach slash product owner. I've been doing product for about 8 years. I've been building a lot of amazing products that has impacted people's life. And I think that's it. Aside the old title thing and professional background, My interests are in soccer. I'm a Manchester United fan. It's hard to be a Man United fan now.
Uh-huh.
I like to play video games. I used to be a staunch. I thought at some point I was going to be a professional FIFA player, but that career also dead.
Dead and ever.
Yeah. So what I do now is pretty much I just aside building products, I help a lot of people transition into tech. On the hobby side, I don't play soccer as I used to before. That's due to a lot of reasons. I just like to read books, read maybe to learn something new or just for the fun of it.
Mm.
So I think that's me in a I can't even use nutshell.
Because as the whole country.
That's
So two things. I think a common theme in my podcast so far so good. My guests either really have some affiliation to software engineering or product management. So far so good, and it's
okay.
crazy because more than half of my guests, I think uh, four of you now. Yes, four of you were no, three of you were not in software engineering part. You
Okay.
guys came in. So the first person, entrepreneur Ayofowode, was in chemical engineering. We did study chemical engineering. Lion studied chemical engineering. You studied civil engineering, and you guys found your way into product management. That's awesome. That shows that anyone can get into um, creating tech products if you really, really want to, if you really want to get it done. So another thing that I also want to point out is why do I would say why do agile coaches have problems with their titles? Because you don't want to be called that, but that is part of your responsibility, I suppose. Because ideally, from my knowledge of product management, you run sprints. So why don't you want to be called that?
Why don't I want to be called an agile coach?
Yes.
I mean, like for one, it puts a lot of maybe like reward at the back of what you're doing. It's like you're claiming everybody's responsibility.
Mm,
Now, to be agile, it's really just working with people, just working collaboratively, right? So
mm,
when you hear the word agile coach, it sounds too fancy, like, oh, you're one guy that just goes there and say, okay, I don't know if you've seen this video of one Nigerian coach teaching one boxer something. But I know like that's the first thing that comes to people's mind, really. But for me, it's more about just the title. The agile coach thing is just a title I've gotten from maybe my extensive research and implementing agile in different environments. So I really
mm.
do. I still just want to stick to it as product. I think it's still part of my responsibility as product. But right now, I just go by that title, agile coach slash product owner.
Okay. So speaking of which, how do you as let's for this purpose of for this discussion
Yeah.
for this episode, let's call you the agile coach. How do you contribute your quota to creating tech products? What's your contribution to the whole?
Uh, So typically, I mean, you can't just call me agile coach and remove my product of that title. You have to glue the two together. So, what's my like? Pretty much, what's my role? So currently, I work for the RCMP. That's like a federal police in Canada.
Okay.
So I own a product called the NCFRS. It's a fraud reporting system where people can get to report cyber incidents and fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So my duty there is really to guide the team into developing that product. So in a nutshell, what does product management mean? Or what does product ownership mean? I think I'll define it this way. It's a way of engaging people to find out the best ways you can build software that would serve them. Now, especially since I'm working in a very sensitive field where what we do, the ease at which people can report cybercrime is very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to always just kind of like build a product that's very, let me see, what's the word here? That's very, I'm just going to use the word user friendly, right? Because you want people to feel comfortable to divulge information about what has happened to them to you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to build a very easy to use platform. So my role is pretty much, I'm not going to take credit for anything. I work with uh, business. I'm just going to use the word business. I work with the development team and I work with UI UX. And what we do is we get to speak to people, we get to understand their pain points, to find out how difficult it is or what challenges they're having using a system or a platform. And then based on that, we kind of like take it back and then go and build or go and make adjustments to just make life easier for
This year. Mm. So I get that part of product management,
you. Yep.
but I think I'm still not so for me, I understand product management to a large extent,
Yep.
but the part where I don't really get is that agile scrum master part, because when you build a team, when you have a team, when you put a team together,
Yep.
there's always that title, so I want to understand more on that.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So when you think of agile, when you hear the word agile, right? If you look at it as just from the English perspective, it means to move quickly, right?
Mm.
Now, I think agile isn't. I think one of the misconceptions people have is agile was meant to replace what people used before, which we could call the traditional project management techniques, such which is, I'm just going to use waterfall, right? So people think it's meant to replace waterfall, right? But no, agile is kind of meant to complement waterfall, right? So
Yep.
one of the issues people experience with waterfall where it was not so responsive to change. If a change happens, you have to like it's a mountain to climb for you to
Rectify.
rectify that change, right? The way things were done in waterfall was perfect for things back then, right? It's just like right now you want to be using old technique, old ways to do new things. You probably
Mm.
will have problems. So that's where uh, Agile kind of like evolved out for. So there's waterfall on the other hand, where it's good for projects where you know that your requirements are not going to change. So when we say requirements, I'm just going to use the word requirements because that's what we do in like software. So if you want the calculator to do 1 plus 1,
Mm.
that's a requirement, right? Now, what we do now is, so in waterfall, we would prefer waterfall will work very well if we know that this calculator would only do 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3. Then we can take it and go and build, then bring it to market, right? Now,
Mm.
for software deals with humans, right? Human ones are insatiable. We kind of like are very dynamic with what we want. So we can say we want the calculator to do 1 plus 1 today, and then tomorrow we might want it to also do something else, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, these things come with priorities that can even help a business, right? So if there's somebody like, take for instance, now the rave of the thing is Chat GPT, right?
Yes.
It has
Yes.
come out, they've built a product. Now, if I was building something similar, right? If I had started building my own product before, let's just call it fried rice, my own AI. Let's call it fried rice. Now, if I wanted to, if going by Agile, because there's a product out there already, I need good competitive advantage. I need to do something that will outdo what Chat GPT is doing.
Mm.
Agile gives us that flexibility to kind of like switch gears. Now, one common word people would hear is sprint iterations, right? So again, and one major difference is in waterfall, we would pre-plan everything, like from one, like we plan everything we want to do, all the phases. But in Agile gives us that advantage, not like we don't plan, but our plans are made when we know that we know least about what the project would look like. So now that
Mm-hmm.
activity is out, we can have several variations of our sprint. We can speak to our customers and find out what they are not getting from ChatGPT. Like for instance, you could see like, oh, ChatGPT goes out of traffic. Like there's always too much traffic. It could go offline and things like
Yeah.
that. Now, if I want to build a product and I want to launch soonest, I have to put that into consideration. So that gives me kind of like competitive advantage in the market. Now with waterfall, people would struggle to make that change, right? Because
Yeah.
we had
It's fixed.
planned everything. So that would kind of like look like doing a lot of work to make adjustments. So
Okay.
that comes with that flexibility to really be able to accommodate these changes, right? Just these changes would result from different things. It could just even be to give the customer a competitive advantage.
So question. So my question is, so is Agile same thing as Scrum?
Yes. So Agile is a way of building software, and then Scrum is under Agile. So aside Scrum, there's Kanban, there's test-driven development. There are quite a few. So
Oh.
where my title as an Agile coach comes in is for you to be able to guide or lead your team. I don't want to use the word, just guide your team
Mm-hmm.
into adopting an agile framework. So there are different frameworks that you could use, but at the end of the day, you have to tailor it to your organization.
Relations. Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
where like agile coaches come in to kind of like help guide that transition for the team. So you could see like the typical thing is you have someone who's an agile coach, and then you have someone who's a scrum master who is reporting to the agile coach. So for people like me, it's kind of like a two-in-one package. I would help out with your process, which is in this case your transition to Scrum, and then I will also help out in building amazing product.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now I get the picture now. I understand because I think you know what I studied in for my masters, right? I studied systems engineering, and those are because I know Agile, but I never really I would say I didn't know that people could or people can take it as a role, like a streamline role. That oh, this is what you are doing for this company. So my next question is, what is a typical day for someone who is a Scrum person or Agile person?
So typically, I mean, like for for someone who's a Scrum Master, you wake up, you are conducting what we call your ceremonies. That's your daily stand up. Now, what's that? What does that meeting do? It's a meeting where people come in and kind of like not explain, like provide updates into what they are doing to or what they are trying to achieve towards that sprint. So we break things into sprints, and each sprint is like a mini project. They could go from anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks, and then people don't like the way Scrum works is you don't kind of like delegate tasks to your team members. By team members, I mean like your developers. So the team members are said to be self-organizing. Everyone picks the task they are going to do now. So we have this, like for example, daily stand-up where people would explain or just let people know how it's going for them, how what they said they will be able to do in this sprint, how it's going, how they are achieving those goals. That's one of the ceremonies. So typically, if there are problem, we could use the word impediment. Like say for example, test with our say developer doesn't have access to Microsoft Excel. The Scrum Master will set up a meeting that would help resolve that issue. So aside that, there are just different meetings that occur at different cadences. So the way it works is you have your sprint planning. The Scrum Master would help with the estimation, just facilitating all these events really.
Mm.
So they facilitate the sprint planning. There, the team will estimate what they need to do. You need to know like estimation techniques. You need to be conversant with those. Then after the sprint planning, the daily stand-up would start. That's the one I just explained. And after a set amount of time, which is usually like a length of sprint, we would have like a sprint review. Again, it's the Scrum Master who is facilitating this sprint review. So if we picture this in like a 2 week cycle, so that's what's common out there, 2 week sprint. So, like, say Monday we do our sprint planning. The next Thursday, so from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we do Monday we do sprint planning. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll do our daily stand up, and people will continue working. Next Monday, daily stand up. Next Tuesday, daily stand up. Next Wednesday, daily stand up. Next Thursday, we could do daily stand up and then have what's called a sprint review.
Sprints. Oh, okay, that
So
makes
the sprint
sense.
review is for the developers to kind of like showcase what they've done to the product owner, right?
Mm.
Now, when they do this, they get feedback. If it's good, we proceed
Continue. Mm-hmm.
and we'll go back again, continue to repeat each sprint. So each sprint we set out to deliver a product increment. So it's just that rinse repeat. So now if this sprint we say we are going to do XYZ, right? Now next
Mm.
sprint if there's a change in direction, we can easily replan. So again, we've we've kind of like have an idea what we want to build, but there's really that flexibility for us to change it. So that's what a Scrum Master would do. Now on the other side again, because since I am like an agile coach slash product owner, on the product side, you could attend this Scrum ceremonies. Particularly, you could attend like the daily Scrum. Now, the whole concept behind having this daily Scrum is really so it's something that has to do with transparency, inspection, and adaptation. So transparency is everybody should be able to see, and these are the Scrum values. This is for everyone to be able to see what everybody is doing. It's not like one person's work is hidden is top secret. No, everybody gets to see what everybody is doing. We have information radiators where people would see stuff, like for example, a Jira board, right?
Mm.
Now, as a product owner on the other side, you are responsible for just prioritizing the backlog, really. So, backlog is the list of things we need to do. There's always going to be things that will pop up, feedback from Suraju, new requests from Gmail and stuff like that. Those will come into the backlog. Now it's your own job to really prioritize these things based on what's valuable, right? Like, okay, if we do this, it should be valuable to people. So that's where you as a product owner come in. Now you need to attend all these rituals because again, you would write user stories and acceptance criteria. Now in waterfall, the name used to be requirement, right? Requirement is when we say, okay, I'm building a calculator. I want this calculator to do 1 plus 1. Now in Agile, we use the name has changed. So it's called user stories, right? It's really you just telling the requirements from the point of the user. So rather than say, okay, I want this calculator shall do 1 plus 1, which is how you write your requirement,
Mm.
say something like as say test, I want a calculator that will do 1 plus 1. I mean, like that's not really the full convention, but it's close. And then you explain the logic, the reason behind it, what we're trying to achieve, so that test can do is mass assignment or something. That's what we write in user stories. So why is it better than requirements? It provides more clarity into what we need the system to do. And there's something called acceptance criteria, which are kind of like set of conditions this user stories could conform to. For example, it's if you have like aesthetics or really things, I'll just use the word non-functional. So you put all of that in your acceptance criteria. So as a product owner, you write all of that, you prioritize the backlog. All these things will go into it, and then your team pretty much just starts taking things to do from the top of the list. Now it's important for you to attend these ceremonies also because one, like the daily stand-up could be an avenue for you to identify risk. How do I mean? So if Gmo is, I don't know if any of your listeners bearing Gmo, they should just bear with me. But but you get to go and know if Gmo is facing an issue and how that issue can impact the deliverable you are hoping to achieve in the sprint. So that way you can identify your risk and then you can mitigate it.
So very briefly, very briefly, how what are the tools that you use day to day as a Scrum master or Agile person?
Well, so if I mean, like they are all like a component of the same thing. They just go by different variations. So what you need is you need a project management tool. Popular ones there are Azure DevOps and you have Jira. And then the rest are really just online collaborative tools. So you could have Mural, you could use Miro. They are pretty much just for you to whiteboard things with your team and just get this sorted out.
Okay. So this question, I always like this question. I always like to ask this question.
Yeah.
What are the questions that you will ask someone who is trying to be a Scrum Master or Agile person for a tech company? What are the questions that if the person answers it, or if the person answers them,
Yeah.
you will know that this person is proficient, this person is knowledgeable? Because I know you are like the right person to ask this question because you tutor people, you introduce people to Agile and Scrum Master roles. So I think you are the perfect person to answer this question.
Okay. So I'll answer this for both roles, Agile coach, Scrum Master, and then bonus. I'll just give the one for product.
Products, okay.
Okay, so I'll start with product, right? So when you are in a product interview, really, like I think what people want to see is how engrossed you are with your users, how you are kind of like empathy. That's the key word actually. So how you are able to put yourself in the shoes of your users, right? How you're able to kind of like listen and get it, listen and understand what they're trying to say. You are able to pick their pain points, right? A lot of people, when you ask them, okay, design a pencil, you start hearing the words like, oh, I want a pencil that this. They have forgotten that they are not the ones who are just going to use that pencil, right? Now, what people want to see is, oh, I spoke to XYZ, who are like different users of this pencil, and I was able to get their pain points. Therefore, I went back with my team and we were able to design this off the research we've done with users, right?
Yeah.
We've spoken to users. Because again, these products are not going to use themselves. So that's for product. Now for Scrum, right? It's pretty much you have a lot of firefighting to do, right? So I think being there to um, understand how to fight fires, right? It's really because that's really what you do. Like, there's a problem, you have to solve it, you have to be able to gather people together, how you are able to facilitate things, right? So your oration skills would matter, your communication skills would matter, right? So if you are going into like a Scrum interview, you need to go with your A game. You need to be at the top of your game to be able to communicate what it is you're doing, right? It's not for people who are not like should I say expressive? No, because again, they're speaking to not a lot of people, but you are speaking to a subset of people as a Scrum Master, you need to sound convincing, right? Because people will trade a lot of things for you. So, example, I've been in situations where I come and I'm trying to introduce Agile to people, and then somebody just goes, maybe like somebody who's been like a lead developer for a number of years, right? He just goes, "Why should I care?" Now, how you're able to handle such situations matters a lot. If not, training. So you need to sound really convincing. I think that's what I'll be looking for in an interview if I'm interviewing for Scrum Masters, and then just your idea of what the Scrum framework is really about, not the ones that you would see online, but your actual knowledge of it. I think that's what matters to me.
Okay. That's dope. So my last question:
Yeah.
explain what you do to a 7-year-old.
Well, okay, so I'm more of a product manager. This one, I want to claim my products.
No, I don't want code of product. I want Scrum. I want Scrum and Agile. We know a lot about products, product management. We
Yeah.
want Agile.
So how would I explain to a 7-year-old what an agile coach does? All right, so I'll just let him know, like, okay, I'm sure it's the most 7-year-old would start playing soccer anyway. So I'm just gonna let him know, like, my role is pretty much similar to their soccer coach, right? Now the only difference is I'm not going to be yelling out instructions on the touchline. I am going to be holding them to show them what needs to be done in order for us to be better collectively. I think that's how I'll explain it to a 7-year-old in
Mm,
terms of what I do as an agile coach.
okay, so like sports coach.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So I know you have this set of classes that you coordinate. Can you tell us more about that?
Oh yeah, so I run a how do I put it? It's like a business where we train people who are trying to transition into IT. So we teach an array of courses ranging from product management itself to DevOps. So DevOps is another level on its own. It's like Agile's cousin, right?
Mm,
But without Agile, there can't be DevOps. So, but there's a part, especially now with cloud and stuff like that. So there's the DevOps part. We run those classes, and then we train people on how to become product managers, right? So if you're wondering what product managers are, these are people who make a lot of money by trying to make people happy. So
mm,
it's just trying to be ice cream. So we currently run like classes on both product and DevOps. From time to time, we do run Scrum classes also. All our classes are virtual. They are more practical based than theory because everybody can go out there and just read on these things. So we try to show what you get to encounter on the job.
mm.
That's really what our focus is.
So how do people sign up? How much does it cost? What is the timeline?
Well, it depends. So now the DevOps is quite cumbersome. It's pretty much a 6 months program. That costs about 3,000 Canadian dollars. There's the option to pay monthly. We have like different payment options, but it really ranges from paying 3,000 lump sum or just squeezing it into like different what's it called, payment schedules.
Mm,
Now, the other one, which is like the product management, and the DevOps is really for, we call it zero to hero. We call most of our programs zero to hero, meaning like, okay, you don't have any idea or you don't have any IT knowledge before, you are very much welcome. Uh, the other one product, it's we have two parts to that. We have people who have some idea of what product is, right? But they just need helping hands to kind of like break into that market, we have that avenue. And then we have people who absolutely have no idea what this is and they just want to go into it. Now, I must just put it out there. This the zero to hero cost 1,800 Canadian dollars. I mean, like, I'm just gonna put it out there. To we are in the business of also selling dreams, right? Meaning we persuade people to transition into IT. It's the same thing. You can make money off it. Now, I'm just always letting people know that it's always a lot of job required on your end. Also, it's a lot of proactiveness to really come take take notes of what we are teaching you and also do your own research. We are absolutely teaching you what's required. Also be gingered to do a lot of research and find out your own things. But that's it. It's been that part of it has been wonderful. We've trained, I think since I left US, or even before I left US, I started training people. So it's been wonderful. Come across a lot of people. We've built wonderful relationships. That's it.
So, what's the timeline? How long would the classes be for? And I'm going to push you on this.
Yep.
Can we get any discount for those who are lucky to have listened to this point? If not, it's their luck.
I mean, like, yes, like, let them just reach out to me. They can, I don't know if you can put my number up. My
Okay,
number is 647-877-0399. Or they can just go to the website www.theslimprep.com and let them just say, oh, they heard about this on the podcast and we'll pick it up from there. I'll be sure to give substantial discounts for them.
nice. Thank you very much.
Yep.
See, this is what you get from this podcast, and there's still more. There are still more goodies coming in. Anyways, thank you very much for your time. I think this is very, very educative. I learned a lot of things, and we also have our special guest crying behind,
Yeah,
trying to be part of the show. But
that,
yeah,
that's my CEO.
CEO, that's your girl, that's the boss of the house. But thank you very much, Tessie. We'll catch up. One day I'll come over to Canada when it's warm as Lagos.
Yeah.
It's not as Lagos.
So that's the thing with Canada. We get very cold winter and then we get very hot
Very, mm,
summer too. Like summer gets as high as 30 degrees Celsius, even higher.
oh wow. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate you giving us discounts on today's show.
No, not a problem. Like,
Yeah. Let me say hello to Madame
all right.
and our boss.
Sure.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah.